Okay. And if you haven't already, please sign into the attendance sheet as well. All right. So we're going to continue from where we've left off on Monday. Um, and here are like a few things I like to clarify based off what I saw on like the discussion board and also your comment. Um, so in content analysis, there are different things. So we have variables and we have uh, categories, or also we call them levels. And the variables can be, there's no fixed number for variables. They can be multiple or they can be one, and they don't have to be related to one another. You can come up with like a different numbers of variables that are not related. But the variables are the things that you're looking for in the content. So if you remember the paper about the fit spiration, they had one variable about body type, right? They had another variable about thin ideal messaging, and then they had the third variable about exercise motive or exercise appeal. And those variables don't have to be related to one another, but it was just part of the research question that the researcher wanted to explore. Within each variable, you're then going to have different categories that are actually related, which are different levels of the same category, of the same variable. So, for instance, if you're analyzing athletes featured in Sports Illustrated covers, one variable could be gender, which would have two or more levels, male, female, and unlisted, like other. You can also code for the type of sports, so football, basketball, swimming, etc. A third variable could be the ethnicity of the athlete. A fourth variable could be the clothing. So it depends, right? And if you remember what you did on Monday, remember when we looked at like uh, some of you were here, but if you watch it, like if you see pictures of let's say Anthony Davis Instagram page, and so one variable could be is this post sponsored or not, and then you have two levels, yes, no. Then a third variable would be is he on the court or off the court? Like is he holding a basketball or not holding a basketball? He eating or not eating, or like running, sitting, dancing. You see. So it's these different variables. Then within each variable, you have different categories, and those are the ones that are supposed to be exhaustive, usually exclusive and concise, right? So to clarify if there's any confusion, yes, here like the type of sports is the athlete is gonna be like a football athlete, a basketball athlete, a swimming athlete, but it cannot be both, right? Even if they switch, but then you would code for the current sport that they're playing, right? So the category is the same. And the same thing when you're coding for like the tone, you're doing like positive, negative, neutral. That's within one variable. And then you can do another variable for like gender and whatnot. But you cannot have one variable that says category one is male, category two is adult, and category three is sad. That doesn't make sense because you could be an adult male who is sad, right? Or happy, but you cannot be. So you have one variable would be sad or happy. So emotion, that's one variable. Gender, a second variable, and age is the third variable, right? So you see, like, yeah. And the same when you do qualitative analysis, that's what you need to make sure that you understand that the categories that you're coming up with are actually mutually exclusive. And so if you're struggling with mutual exclusivity, then you're actually dealing with two different variables, right? So you can do one variables, okay, those categories go there, and another variable, and those categories go there. But yeah, across the variables, the post or the unit or whatever you're analyzing would have one category in variable one and another variable in another category in variable two, right? But you cannot have two categories in variable one. Okay, so that's something I wanted to clarify. How do we come up? So how to come up with categories? So we said in the inductive approach of content analysis, when you're not working off uh, Terrence, are you from Jersey?
Yes, I am.
Well, okay, what part of Jersey?
South, Atlantic
Oh,
City.
okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Very familiar. Okay, didn't know we have a Red Devils fan in here. Sorry, I that's real off topic. I lived in Jersey for a while, and it's so rare to see the sign for Red Devils. Not big in the West Coast. Anyhow, um, okay, that was super random. Anyhow, Starbucks. So to come up with then categories, the easiest way to do that is when you're starting with like open coding, it's just you generate tags for the unit of content you're analyzing. And so tags is the easiest way to start with. They're just adjectives. Maybe you hear them like website tags. If you're reading a story on like BuzzFeed, for instance, if you go down, like if you roll down the bottom, or even in YouTube, they have tags. So you'd be watching a video, and at the bottom it would be like life hacks, like fixing thing, or like computer unboxing, new game, 2020. You know, these are different tags, so different description about what this video is going to be about, right? So when you search, you can find it. So similarly, you just generate that for the content you're analyzing. Those tags don't have to be mutually exclusive, don't have to be exhaustive. They're just your initial impressions of the content you're encountering. So you read and then you come up with tags like whatever number you're familiar with. And once you're done with like tagging a bunch of units, so let's say you're analyzing tweet post by Starbucks, then you look at these tags and you say, okay, how I can cluster them into 4 or 5 distinct categories. So a manageable number of categories, if you remember what we're saying. Okay. And those categories are the ones that are supposed to be mutually exclusive and exhaustive and concise, the way we say that. For one variable, yeah, you would have categories, and then they will encapsulate the tags you created, right? So here is an example. So here we see a real post from Starbucks. Roses are red. We love cold brew. Here's a love note from us to you. Happy Valentine's Day. So look at this post and tell me like what descriptions you have about this post. Okay? What tags did you generate? Feel free to type it in the chat, please. Casey, Lily saying holiday themed, right? Anyone? What descriptives would you use for for this post? What words would you use? Adjectives, okay. Clever wording, okay. What else? Like about the content, how would you describe the content? Emotional, Valentine's Day, cold brew, wordplay, like coffee, happy. Hmm. What else? Yeah. What about the? Yeah. What about the things this post invoke? What do you feel? Okay. Customer value, festive, like love, special, loves. Okay, that's nice. Any other emotions, affection? Okay. And what is it about? What's the thing they're talking about? Oh, one God. Good. Okay. So these okay. I think we have enough text. So affection, love, special, love, happy. What category could sum up those words or these tags? Happy, festive, love, loved, affection. What one word can like just encapsulate all of that? Like one umbrella term for all of that. Yeah, thank you, Kylie. Yeah, feelings, emotion. So emotional feelings, right? Um, so yes. So assume now you created those tags for multiple posts. Then all of these tags together would be regrouped into emotional. And so the post, when you categorize them, will all fall under that umbrella of emotional, right? So you just generated the tags and you said emotional, okay, can cover those tags. Maybe you come up with another category that cover other tags, and then you see how you could separate them, like or sort them out, right? You're gonna have like, are you going to end up with like three categories, six categories, four categories? It depends, right? So you can have emotional here, you can have something else, but this is how the inductive process is initiated. So you're not working off predefined categories as we saw with the deductive approach. You start with something like this, you look at post and generate tags, and you do it for like a bunch of units, and afterwards you come up with the categories. So I hope you're seeing the difference. Those again, to remind you, need to be then exhaustive, needs to be like, yeah, uh, so if exhaustive, in other words, they would cover almost all of the posts. So for example, you cannot come up with three categories, but then we find like 40% of the units we're analyzing don't fall into any of your categories. That means your categorization scheme is unreliable. So it has to account for like almost all of the content. And maybe if you have like another category that's like other, maybe that can take care of like the 5% that you could not find like a place to sort them into. Yeah, but you cannot like miss 20%, 50%, 30%, something like that, right? You can combine categories, like, so you can then you come up with different categories. You can combine them. You can, if you have like, yeah, like emotional could be one, promotional is another. You think about something else, like two things could be merged together. So it's a continuous process. But after you generate the tags and you will come up with rough, maybe then you narrow them down into like seven categories. And maybe later you can merge a few, and so you end up with like five categories. So the idea is that the more, like, if you have a manageable number that could account for everything, that's ideal, right? You don't need to come up with like more categories just for the sake of having more. Actually, if you have less and you can cover more in terms of the cases, that's better, right? So manageable numbers of variable of categories is always better as long as it's exhaustive, as long as the coding scheme is exhaustive. Here another mental exercise. So read these tags carefully, these words, and try to produce 2 to 3 categories that sum them up. Let's sum those up. What 3 categories could you produce that take account basically for all of the tags you see on the screen, right? And feel free to type your answer in the chat as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 So, okay, so Lily saying food, store operations, community value, right? Treats, promotions, community. Same idea, different labels. Discount slash promo, logistics, products, also, yeah, roughly the same idea. Informative marketing outreach, right? That's clever. Good, right? So, yeah, yeah, marketing, products, delights and promotions. That's correct. What would be an example of promotional tag? What would fall under promotion? From this list, I mean, from the words I have in here, which one would fall under promotion? Let's see. So Zoe, you have treats, promotions, and community. Can you tell me what you mean by promotions?
With promotions, I'm just thinking like um, whatever things like the opening soon, the discounts, um, free sample, ways to get a product or something to the greater public and to provoke interest.
Yes, right. So if you see that in on Twitter, that's the category that you're gonna think of, right? Like if a post is talking about like promo code sales, blah blah blah, you think, okay, this belongs to like promotions. Um, Ray, what would be an example of outreach? What do you mean by outreach?
By outreach, I meant like the community support and like the local events. It's kind of things that are bigger than just their or like the charitable. It's like things that are bigger than the company itself.
So yeah, outreach would account for like local events, charities, community support, uh, supporting different social causes. Yeah, well, and I think delights and like or food items or treats, sort of or food sort of self-explanatory, right? Yeah. So I think I'll skip this part. I can talk about this on Friday. And the reason is, okay, so we're having a group exercise. So could you please go to Blackboard? And in the course content, you would see a new assessment called content analysis exercise. Could you open that? And so there you would find two files. One is a Word doc. Actually, it's a Google Doc. A Google Doc with the instructions of how to conduct the exercise, which is a detailed version of the slides. And there's also a spreadsheet. You may open the spreadsheet on Google Sheets, or you might download it into your computer and open it with Excel. All right. So can you go, do you see that on Blackboard? Blackboard course content, it will be down like at the bottom. Okay. Right. So you have the Google Doc and you have the spreadsheet. So there you have two things. Now, here's what we're going to do. So you're going to like a team in a breakout room. And then if you look, sorry, if you look at the, so what you're seeing are like tweets from this account, Sidecar Donuts. So these are real tweets from a real account with real numbers and data. You will start, you're only going to analyze the tweet content. Okay. So the first column is the link, the second column, the tweet content, and the third column is something called tags. You are going to read a bunch of tweets independently and then come up with tags for each one. Okay. In the spreadsheet, you could see like I have 4 different colors for like in the tags column. So each team member has to take care of one only, or like one bunch, one sample. Okay, like I divided them up by color. So you see they here have different color shades. Okay, you read the tweet and then you come up with tags. You don't have to open the link. It's like you will get the basic idea just from reading the tweet text. If you want to open the link and just see what picture they're showing, it's fine. Like you can click on the link and it will open automatically on your browser. But you don't have to. You will get the gist of the idea just by looking into the text. So you will do that individually. Then as a group, once everyone finishes off their sample, you meet again, like you talk to one another and see which categories you can come up with. Okay? So you look at your tags, you compare what ideas you had, and then you come up with like 3 to 4 categories based off the tags you've created. Right? Once you create the categories, there is a separate sheet in that file. It's called it's called category code guide. Okay. Like it's at the bottom, you see different tabs. Yeah, you can use it. Type down the categories you've had, you produced with the definitions. So categories, definitions, right? As a group. Once you're done with that step, you go back to the tweets, and then yeah, you code all of the tweets in a separate column next to the tags. So you would see tags, and next to it will be category code. So use the categories you created to assign, basically sort out or assign coding categories to each tweet. in each row, right? So each row represents one tweet, to remind you, right? Each row is one unit, okay? And so you'll do that part as a group. And once you're done, you compare your results and you see if like you have agreements or disagreements and how you're gonna solve the disagreement. Okay. So hope you're clear in this part. If you read the Word file as well, I have the same instruction and details. You can look into it, right? The easiest way for you, so once I assign you into the breakout rooms, you can open the Google Sheets and make a copy and share it with your group. So that's the easiest way, like, because you can be working off the same, you'll be working off the same document. All right. So we'll have time like later to continue working on it. So you're not expected it to finish it today, like you're not going crazy with this. But I want you to start now. So I'm going to assign you to the uh, is anyone having a problem with the Google Doc?
I am. I couldn't open it.
If you copy the link and paste it instead of clicking on the link through Blackboard, it works.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to assign you into breakout rooms. Does anyone have any preference? You can send me chat if you have someone you want to work with. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it super randomly. Oh, okay. So wait, did you get the invitation? Breakout rooms.